Okay, the Big Body Ball bold prediction season. Here's my top 5 bold predictions for the 2024 season. Number 1, Nico's going to win the Heisman. Right now, he's plus 1,500 odds. He's at close to the top. He's like within the top 10, but still, obviously, predicting a Heisman is always a long shot. He's my guy. Coming in, he'll be now his sophomore year. He'll be the first year he'll be starting. I think he has tremendous upside. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to be in prime time. So by week 4, he's going to have NC State on a neutral and Oklahoma on the road. If he's 2-0 in those games and already with solid numbers, I think he's probably close to the top of the Heisman odds after week 4 for that. And then later in the season, he has Bama at home and Georgia on the road. So you got to win at least one of those games. So I think if he stays healthy and obviously his receivers can stay healthy and secondary can make improvements, because you do need to have some, it is a team sport that is calculated into, the Heisman here, like your team performance. I think he has a really solid shot to do this. So that's my number 1 bold prediction. Number 2, Miami will win the ACC. This is a year where I'm just buying the hype for Miami, and I get a lot of 2023 Texas vibes from this, where people were entering the season as like, all right, this is it. This is the year Texas is back. Now, like people said that entering the year for Texas several times. But this year it panned out. I think this is Miami's year. They addressed the portal really well. They brought in probably either the top 1 or top 2 quarterback. They did well on recruiting the defensive line in the portal. They've done a wonderful job in recruiting high school. The things that's been holding them back has been some some game time decisions, some coaching things, and really just not living up to what their expectations are and what their potential is. They have a relatively favorable schedule this year in the ACC. I think they can get it done, and I think they could win the ACC this year. That's my number 2 bold prediction. Number 3, I think Michigan is going to beat Texas in week 2. So Texas comes into Michigan to come into the big house. Week 2, all eyes are going to be on this game. Huge matchup. Great historic programs meeting off. I think it's going to be really awesome. However, Texas is favored by I think like 5, in the big house. I just think people are kind of just writing off Michigan right now, and they're saying like, Texas is going to win this game. And I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think like Texas has lost their top 4 receivers from last year. Quinn has not taken that next step as, an elite quarterback. And that Michigan defense is great. And they still got Will Johnson back. They have Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham. Like those dudes will be able to get pressure on Texas. And on the flip side, Michigan will be able to block Texas. Like they lost Tavondre Sweat, they lost Byron Murphy. Like these are big guys plugging the holes, and I think Michigan will do a really good job of winning the line of scrimmage in that game. So I think people are just expecting Texas to go in there and win, and I like Michigan to take that one. Okay, next one. A Big 12 team will win a playoff game. Now, this one is kind of a long shot here. I think there's like 2 teams who I think have the capability of doing it. Utah and Kansas State. Obviously, a Big 12 team is going to get in. One is guaranteed to get in, and with that being with a bye. So you're going to take a really high seed that a Big 12 team will play, who had already won a playoff game. So obviously, it's going to be really tough and stiff competition. I think there are 2 teams who could compete, and that's Utah and Kansas State. If Oklahoma State gets in there, that's maybe a long shot. I think those 2 teams, Utah and Kansas State, have the best chance to do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma State. But my bold prediction is that a Big 12 team will win a playoff game and surprise some people. Lastly, the SEC and Big Ten will not have any undefeated teams heading into conference championship weekend. Now, when you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's not that crazy. Well, the last time that happened was 2014. The last time where the SEC or the Big Ten did not have an undefeated team in their conference championship was 2014. And I think this year with moving away from divisions in both the Big Ten and the SEC and the grind of what both those conferences have new members who can compete. Like Texas and Oklahoma will be a grind in the SEC. Oregon, USC, Washington, like UCLA, those teams will grind in the Big Ten. So I don't think any teams from those two conferences, the SEC or Big Ten, will come out with any undefeated teams heading into conference championship weekend. Let me know what you guys think. Follow Big Body Ball on all socials: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.